All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. This is going to be a wonderful session, and we got a lot of good stuff in store for you from our first master artist for instrumental music this year. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to a man that has spent 30 years composing for the Hollywood film and television industry on a number of projects that you're going to hear about today. So without further ado, please give your undivided attention to Mr. Kurt Farquhar.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, everybody. How we doing in there? So how many of you, let me see a show of hands of people who are musicians. Oh, wow. Cool. That's fantastic. A lot of you. Fantastic. And of the musicians, how many are interested in composition? Yeah, okay. Good. Really, really good. And are there any actors in the bunch? Anybody that's interested in acting or set design or any of the other disciplines? Yeah. All right. So, as he said, my name is Kurt Farquhar, and I'm a composer. I compose music for television and film. I've done shows on virtually every network, every major broadcast network, meaning ABC broadcast networks are ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, UPN, and I've been doing it for about 30 years. I wrote my first symphony when I was 12 years old. I went to the National Conservatory of Music in Versailles, France, and I went to Berklee College of Music, as well Eastern Illinois University. And oddly enough, I went to a school, I had a School of the Arts sort of experience myself when I was in high school. I went to a place called CBS in Chicago, and they had one of the first music programs where you could actually study your instrument, you could study, you had a full orchestra, marching band, composition, and music theory. It was really, really a fantastic experience. And it really helped in preparing me for what I eventually became. A little bit about my story, how I got here. I originally, though I wrote since a very young age, I had no intentions of becoming a composer in terms of composing for media like film or TV or games. And as a matter of fact, in my age group, since I'm 63, there actually weren't any games when I was your age. My sons always ask me which game did I play when I like when I was a kid. I said, well, there were no games then, no video games at that point. I said, no, but which one did you really like? I mean, not, I said, there were no video games. So anyway, I never thought about writing for that. I wrote because I liked it. I wrote because I wanted, because I was a player, and a lot of the original players that I loved a lot of the jazz players like Wayne Shorter from Weather Report and John McLaughlin and John Coltrane, all these, one of my favorites, Keith Jarrett, all of these amazing recording artists actually wrote their music, and I found that they wrote things around what was natural for them to do. And I said, oh, light bulb went off my head. I said, I'm gonna write things around what I do. And like I said, I play a bunch of different instruments. I play 20 instruments. One of my favorite first instruments was drums and percussion. And then I went on to playing all the single reed woodwind instruments and mallets and all of that. So I thought, oh boy, I could do these right around all of these special instruments that I do, and that would be my thing. And I came out here when I came to Los Angeles. I didn't even watch TV when I was a kid in high school. I practiced an obscene amount of time. The I generally worked about 8 hours a day on music, and anywhere from 12 to 16 hours a day on the weekends. And that's with going to a school where you majored in music. So I would put in a good 4 hours before I ever got on the bus and went to school. So, and I come home, do my homework, and get in another 4 hours before I went to bed. So it's natural talent is a really, really big deal. Is a really, really smart thing, great thing to have. But the natural talent won't do much for you when you run into somebody who's actually practicing that much. All of the greats, one thing that you'll hear, whether it's in sports or in entertainment or whatever, is the serious level of putting in the work into the craft of actually uh, doing what it is that you do. And it doesn't make a difference what it is. If you're doing set design, you have to be doing all of the things and working on all of the craft issues that come up with that. If you're doing an instrument, you have to work on all of the issues that come up with actually working on that. And just because you do the work and you become this amazing player, like when I came out here, I thought, oh boy, I'm just amazing, and I'm so good that everybody's going to want to know me. Everybody's going to want to play with me. I told everybody when I left college, I'll have a job within 2 months. I'll be playing with a major artist. And the worst thing that ever happened to me is that within 2 months to the day, I got a job with a major artist, and I was on the road and touring, and I'd done started doing so many wonderful things that I had always dreamed of. And I thought, well, I've made it. That's it. I said, the reason that I'm here is because I'm just so talented. I am so wonderful, and I don't have any intentions of being less wonderful. I'm always going to be at least this good and probably better. So I'm always going to work. I am always going to work until 2 years later. Yeah, I was working all right. I was working at a convenient mart down on Melrose, passing out dry hot dogs, straightening all of the produce, products on the shelves, and checking out people at the checkout counter. Yeah, and then it went down, and those were the good days. It went down from there. I actually ended up homeless and on the streets for over a year. And I say this to you because, it seems like it's tough, but one can get through. And there's a lot to this business, and to any business that you want to be involved in. Uh, what I always tell folks is it's way harder than you ever thought it was going to be. But here's the deal. You can make it work for you. And the starting with that is yes, do you have to do the hard work, that you cannot get past the hard work of practicing and honing your craft. But no matter what portion of our business you're in, you have to remember that it is a business. It is a business. And if you treat it like that, it will treat you in kind by giving you money. Okay. Anytime we are asking for money for what we do, we cannot just think, okay, well, I'm just gonna be good. I'm just gonna be talented, and that's gonna be enough. You have to have some of the detailed thought process of what it takes to actually make people want to give you money for this on a regular basis. I've always told people that I have a concept like I'll call taking me out of the equation, and what that means is that when you're adding up why things worked out for you and why they do not work out for you at the end of the year, that you're not a part of that equation. So it's small things like showing up on time. I'll never be the person that was late for a session. I'll never be the person that has a bad attitude when I'm there. I'm going to be, of course, I'm going to be completely prepared, 110% when I get to my job. But the personality things are very, very important. I mean, in in the entertainment industry, a lot of us, what we do, or what I do every day, I'm in a dark, windowless room for up to 12, 14 hours a day. When you're in a dark, windowless room, you start wondering who you want to be in there with. So to think that that doesn't matter is, not based in reality. That's not a reality-based concept. So, all of that, you have to bring all of yourself to to this endeavor. Um, you know, it's so many people will tell you that it's difficult and that it's almost impossible to have a career, and I'm here to tell you that it's not. It is not. It is no more mystical or difficult or 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 way off in la la land than any other job that anybody can get. To be able to say that, and you'll hear this in your life going up, people will say, come on, get a real job. You know, music isn't a real job. Acting isn't a real job. You got to get a real job. When people tell me that, I I take them out to the valley and I point to that big white and green building with the mouse up on top of it, and I said, all of those people in that building work for Disney. That is entertainment. Is that not a business? I go across the street and I point at Warner Brothers. I say, on that huge lot, I said, if all of those people in there are doing what you guys want to do right there, they're all actors and musicians and and set designers and all a lot. All of them are making a living doing it. It is a business, but you have to treat it that way. You just do. I have a term about saying yes. Yes is the power of yes. A lot of people think that you get to a certain point, oh boy, it's so big, and then you're just sitting back and wondering, oh, I'll do that one, I'll do that, I won't do that, and I won't do this over here. And they believe that their power is in the power of no, and it's not. And I'm here to tell you, after 31 years in this business, I can completely and utterly clearly tell you that at no point in my career, it has any of the major successes that I've come to ever started by me saying no. They've all started by me saying yes. I say yes to this project. I say yes to that project, and we see how it's gonna. We do it, and we see how it's gonna work out. Uh, I'm pretty clear that nobody's calling me to be a program director on a TV show or a network or anything. I'm here to write music. And at no point in the game do I have to decide whether this is a great TV show or an amazing film. A lot of recording artists, from recording artists to directors, thinking that something that they didn't think turned out that well becomes a big hit for them, and you just never know. So you just do the work, you do the art, you do the craft, and then go about your business. Go on to the next thing, and constantly doing the work, and constantly working on your craft, and find some joy in it, because uh it's going to take so much out of you. You've got to find your joy. I need to look up, there's a thing that I wanted to read to you, and I wish I had prepared a little bit more in advance for this, but I think I can find it, and I think I'd like to read it to you if I can find it really quickly. Just give me one moment, okay? Mhm. I'm so sorry I didn't have this prepared up front. Oh, here we go. I was asked one time if I had any advice for someone who was new, who was coming to the business, and who wanted to become, a media composer. And they asked me, what will they need? I said, you will need a belief in yourself, and an unwavering, relentless work ethic will be needed. Your patience will be needed. Your family will be needed. Your tears will be needed. Your love of the game will be needed. Your understanding will be needed. Your preparedness will be needed. Your fearlessness will be needed. Your creativity will be needed. Your joy will be needed. Your life experiences will be needed. You and all your mixed up, sometimes crazy, always complicated mishmash of thoughts will be needed. You with the good, the bad, and with all the imperfections will be needed, because you will be tested. Like Neo in the Matrix, you have to know that you can do this. And I find that those are some of the most important words that I've ever spoken, and the most true words that I could ever say to you. And it's going to be a lot. It's a journey. It's a journey, and have fun with it. Always, always, always know that to not forget about the joy of why you wanted to do it in the first place. What brought you here, and what is your, what's the big get for you? What just makes you just want to get up out of bed and just only do this? If you can always keep that to your in your heart and your soul, it'll be something really. It's a really, really amazing way to make a living. I'd like to show you some music. There's anybody here heard of a superhero show on CW called Black Lightning? Okay, that's one of the shows that I do, and I'd like to play you a piece of music from it and talk about how we came to this piece of music. Okay, that's a piece of music from Black Lightning. It's one of the big battle scenes. Thank you. It's one of the big battle scenes between Black Lightning and his main nemesis. And how did we get there? How do you start with putting together the music from this? It starts with meeting with what we call a spotting session, where this is a meeting where the composer gets together with the producers and the directors and the writers, and they discuss what they were wanting to feel and what they were what they wanted, how the pacing of how they wanted the scene to go. They may discuss some things that were going on inside the particular a particular character's head, and where if they specifically wanted music and where they did not want music. So that's called a spotting session, and we go in, we do this spot, we watch the show together, and they will have temp music in there, and they will discuss where they want the music and how they want it different than the temp, and so on and so forth. So then I take that and I go back to the studio and I put my my personality and my style on it, and take everything that they have been saying and discussing about what they wanted, because I always know that it's called writer for hire. So I'm writing what they hired me to do, and giving not just my own opinion, but what my take on what they said to me. So this was a big scene where that one particular piece of music goes on for about 8 minutes. In that entire episode, there's about the entire episode, an hour-long episode, goes for about 42 minutes. There was 38 minutes of music in that one episode. There's if you, and to give you a concept of how much music that is to write, there's the average album only has 40 minutes of music on it. So, and they spend all year trying to put an album together. Well, I get told that on a Tuesday, and I've got exactly 14 days to finish the whole thing. And sometimes I have to finish it within 4 or 5 days. So it's really fast, quick turnaround. So, and you're having to deal with all of the notes that the various producers gave to you, and you're coming up with various themes. There's a theme for the hero theme, where you might have heard in there where the French horns came in when Black Lightning came through the door. And there was a theme. The last thing we were going to was the younger daughter's theme when she was battling. So there's all these various different themes. There was a theme for one of the bad guys when he first came in to the scene, and that was really interesting. I tried, because the characters are a lot of the main characters are Black. I tried not to always do something that's hip hop inspired or just urban in terms of nature. I think that's too on the point. You might have heard when the string players were playing. There was a string part that was up in the beginning when of the piece. Went like this. That was all based on an old Miles Davis solo. So to make it sound a little to give you a feeling that this was happening not just to anybody, that these were happening to Black people, I decomposed a Miles Davis trumpet solo and spread it through the strings. You used to hear it coming out as strings, but I hear it as a Miles Davis solo. So that's an interesting way of twisting it and saying, okay, here's a way of making it feel a little bit, more that is happening to these particular people, without having to just say, okay, now I'm going to put on a hip hop beat and we're all going to be bumping our heads because that's the only thing that Black people listen to, of course, which is not true, So we come up with very interesting ways to tell you more, give you more information about what these characters are and what they're feeling, because essentially that's the main job of a composer, is to tell people what to feel. I always put it in this way. For our cameramen of the future that are out there, a camera going down a dark hallway is not scary. There's nothing about it that's scary. It doesn't get scary until I start going, Now, you know, as soon as that music comes in, you know Pookie's getting ready to get off. And that's essentially our job, to tell you whether it's to instill fear in you, whether it's to make you laugh. Just watch a comedic movie without the music in it. It is it's something that is not always very funny. You know, you start noticing that it's the comic beats a lot when the music comes in. I worked on a TV show that's right behind me, called The King of Queens. And as funny as he is, it's so many of the scenes that only work when the producers have me put the music in. So music is a great driver of emotions and feelings and a pacing. And like, if something's a little slow, if you want the scene to speed up a little bit, but you didn't quite get it, well, that's when the composers come in, and in that spotting session that we were discussing earlier, that's when the producers would have said something like that and say, could you help us out here to make this move along a little bit more? So it's not just what we like, but it's also something what we need, just the crafting issue. So we go in, we write all this ton of music, and then we present it to the producers. They give us notes or don't give us notes. They change this or change that, or it's all okay, and we move on about our business. And then we take the music from there, and it's sent to a person who's called a music editor. And the music editor is somebody who generally was a musician or a composer himself at one point. And he edits the music into the scenes, into the picture. And then that music is then sent to the post-production re-recording mixers. And those are the people who are putting all of the sounds that are in there. So you're hearing explosion. In the scene that I played for you, there's all kinds of hits and runs and grunts and explosions and every kind of sound effect that you can think of. You know, if somebody's flying, what does it sound like? Whatever. And so you have to combine all of that with the music and with the dialogue and mix it so that everybody can understand it. And that's one of the later processes. Whereas the composer, you show up to the mix and you tell them how you needed the music to play, whether you want it to be louder, or whether you want it to be softer, or whether you wanted to do some more processing to it to make it feel and sound different. So you start all the way from the spotting session to the recording session to the delivery to the you do a mix of the music itself first, and then that mix of the music is sent to the music editor, and then the music editor lays it in and goes to the show re-recording mixer, and you spend like several days, 2 to 3 days with the re-recording mixer, balancing all the sounds out. And then we have the what they call a showrunner, which is the executive producer. And in a TV show, the final word on everything is the executive producer, and the executive producer is generally the head writer. And on a movie, for example, the last word on everything is the director, and he is the one that says, okay, I like the music, I don't like the music, I want more of it here or less of it there. Okay, so those are the two different ways that is done. And the writers in a movie are generally nowhere near the film after they turn in their script. They very rarely want them anywhere near it. They don't want them on set to change anything. And it's exactly the opposite in television. In television, the director turns in his cut, like that's one of the first cuts, and then they cut him loose and they say, don't come back. And then it's the head writer, executive producer, who then takes it through the network cut and through the producer cut, the network cut, and studio cuts. Okay, and so then you have the producers come in and they listen to, they watch the showdown, and they hear all of the sounds, and they see all the effects that are in there. So in that big battle scene that I just played for you, I saw it was people jumping up, entire staircases and running through things and knocking through walls and all of this. But what I see is a guy on some strings being pulled up to the top of the stairs. And then he walks in, he hits his hand like that towards a green screen, and there's nothing there. They have to, in the spotting session, that's another thing that they do, that especially in special effects movies and TV shows, they have to tell the composer what's actually going to happen there. So they have a detailed discussion about, well, we're thinking about the special effects people will be there, and they'll tell you, well, when he flies up there, it's going to be this thing coming off of him and that thing, and he's going to be going through, and these rocks are going to be hitting him, and we're going to make this sound happen. And so there's a lot of different things that occur to that. And I have to know not only to write something, but I also, that makes you feel something, but I also have to know strategically to stay out of the way, because there's this big asteroid that's going to come in and it's going to go, you know, and or there's this other sound that's going to happen. And it's going to be a big explosive sound, so I have to get out of the way, and I duck for that, and then I come back up for that, up for more music later. So anyway, the executive producer comes in, and he'll be saying whether we did the balances right, whether he wanted more music than the sound effect, whether he wanted more sound effect than the music, and that is the last process for the music, on the journey for the music. At that point, then when the entire show is approved in a television series, they have to send it to the network to get final approval and see if they have any notes. But should they have no notes, then that's the final thing for music, the whole process from writing to turning it in. And again, this particular episode that I was telling you about with 38 minutes of music, I remember that particular episode was in the latter part of the season, and we did the entire process from spotting it to the show being ready to go on the air was 4 days of scoring, 3 days of 8 days total before that show was ready to be on the air, and there was no music there before that at all. So pretty fast. One of the things in working in TV, and I tell you this for anybody that is thinking about work in television later in their lives, trust me when I tell you this, the pacing is the only thing you'll ever remember of everything that you've done, that is just so fast, one thing after another, after another, after another. It is so fast. And as soon as you finish that and you think, I don't know how I got through this past week, it starts all over again with another show and another episode and another episode. And a full season on network TV is 22 episodes per season. So it's quite a bit. And if you're somebody like me, a composer, last year I worked on 22 different TV series and feature films. So if you can imagine, we were kind of going full out every day. There was something to do. So, okay, enough about me. How about let's open it up to you guys if you want to ask any questions and about anything about what I'm talking about building a career and what it means to having a career. And
I can start with a few of these questions that I have in advance, Kurt. We got some good questions on here, and it probably will address some of the stuff you already talked about. This is a great one. This is from Alec Reyes, who's a tenor sax jazz man at our school. And
hi, Alex.
And his question is, how did you build your network?
In network, the technology network, or my network of people who I get jobs from? Which are you referring?
I would imagine the jobs network. Like, how did you connect yourself in Los Angeles specifically, in the music scene? And I don't know if you quite addressed how exactly you entered the film and TV composition route. I know it seemingly it's a kind of a it's like, how do I get my start in there? So could you talk about how you got your start in composition and then how you proceeded to build your network?
Let me talk about two different things. Because I feel like I had multiple careers here, to be honest. I came out as just a wanting to be a musician. I'm also a saxophonist as well. And literally, when I was trying to just become a player out here, my friend and I, my best friend Bubba and I came out here, and in those days, you could look on the back of records where they would tell you where the record was recorded, and I would go onto every, I would look on the back of every record and see which one was recorded in LA. And in those days, you could call the musicians union and they would just give you a person's number. They would give you a musician's number. And I was calling up the people on the back of all of these records and saying, hey, I'm Kurt Farquhar, I'm new in town, and I'm just wonderful. Great, you're gonna wanna play with me. And I kept on doing that. And I would just go down the line. Hey, I'm Kurt Farquhar and I'm wonderful, you gotta hear me. And I swear, probably about 50 calls in, somebody said, okay, let's see how wonderful you are. Show up over here. And I did, you know, and I didn't get the first job. My roommate got the first job doing the exact same thing. And it just tells you you have to put yourself out there. You've got to be the main person that believes in you. You've got to be your own best cheerleader. Nobody's got to love what you're doing more than you. And you've got to be willing to tell anybody and everybody about it. You never know where that big opportunity is going to come from. Now, shift to years later when I got into television, which was a circuitous route. I had been, like I said, living on the streets for about a year, and things were about as bad as they could possibly be. And I got an opportunity to write an entitled theme for a TV show, and it was something that my brother did. I got in the old-fashioned way, nepotism, and which has its ups and its downs. But like my brother always tells me, he says, if you screw this up for me, I'll be the first person to fire you. I'll get you out of here before anybody ever gets a chance to put their hands on you. So it was always stressful working for him. But I did a theme song for a show called Living Large, and they chose it for the end title theme, but then the show didn't get picked up. It did not get picked up. So and I was like, oh, okay. And then months later, I had actually finally gotten a little bit back up on my feet, and I had an apartment, and I had my one little piece of furniture in there, and I was looking at my TV, and one day, and I said, "Hey, there's that guy from that pilot that I did. Wow, cool, good for him. That's good. He's working. And then there was this girl. I said, hey, that's that girl that did that show. Wow, good for her. She's working. While inside, my heart is broken. I said, everybody's working but me. And it went to commercial, and they came back, and it said, Living Large will be back in a moment. I said, oh my God, it's that show. And I called around to the producers and said, you know, do I get paid for this? And they said, well, you know, call over to the production company, which I did. And with Stephen J. Cannell Productions, by the way. And they put me on the phone with their business affairs person. It was an attorney, and he says, what, are you going to sue us like everybody else? Because they had all of this temp music in this show. They had records, they had my music, and all kinds of music, but they never did deals for it. And what had happened is there had been a strike, and the networks started airing everything that was on the on their. They started airing all of their pilots. And so they had never made deals for any of the music. They had never completed them because they were just pilots. So I said, no, I don't want to sue you. I said, I just wondered, could I get some money? Do I get money for that? And he got very nice, very, very quickly, and said, yes, sure. I said, well, how would I get that money? Says, well, you know, you just come over here. I'll have a contract for you, and then I'll give you a check. I said, how much would that check be? He said, $10,000. I said, $10,000? Exactly when would I get that $10,000? And I went over there. I put on one of my 2 shirts that I owned at that time. I did not have the bus fare to actually even get to the meeting. I had to walk miles and miles and miles. And I walked all the way over there, and the gentleman, sure enough, had a contract. He says, "You want to go and send this to your attorney?" I said, I looked at it, I said, "No, no, I'm good. Let's just sign here." That's one of the things I do not recommend that you do very often. But let's face it, it was very pressing times. I signed it, and he gave me a check, and that day I had $10,000 in cash, which I went to the bank and I cashed it. And I went home in my apartment and rolled around in it. And I said, TV, this could be interesting. So I was writing for other recording artists at the time, and then I was trying to get other TV shows, and I kept getting these TV shows. I kept one after another would come, but they would always just be a pilot and not get picked up. But you kept getting paid for it. And then uh, I talked to my older brother, and one time, and I said, I'm doing TV and I'm doing the recording things. I was working with the Pointer Sisters and Lionel Richie, and and he said, well, I said, well, it's getting to be a lot. What should I do? And he said, well, which one's paying your rent? I said, well, the TV stuff. He said, do that. Click, and he hung up. And I decided I was going to put my 100% into it, and I was going to just, again, take me out of the equation and try to see what it would feel like to do everything, to always be the person on time, always to be the person that everybody wanted to work with, always be the person with the best stuff, always be the person with the great attitude, always say yes, work it out later, say yes, be the person that says yes. And I did that for a year, and everything was better a year later. I said, that's pretty good. Let's do it again. And it was better even a year later. And then 3 years after that, I had my breakout year, and I picked up more new shows than any other composer in the history of television. And that's a record that still hasn't been broken. And short of having a brother that's in the business, the thing is, it really is about relationships and putting yourself out there. You should be when you're talking about coming out here and getting in the business, you want to be figuring out if talking to everybody, your own parents, your friends, your friend Pookie, so-and-so, does anybody know anybody that knows him? You should be taking my name and my number from Mr. McKeel and say, how can I get back to him and call him up and see what's going on? Is there any opportunity for me to intern someplace? Because that's one of the tried and true ways of getting in, to intern with a person that's in your field. You find someone that's in your field, and it doesn't make a difference what it's paying. It's about, the main thing that it has to pay is experience for you. When I had my first breakout year, I talked to one of the gentlemen that was a big supporter of mine, and I said, well, how do I finally make money at this? And he said, well, that's not your job right now. Your job is not to make money, but to make your reputation. So you have to be so good and be so much that person that everybody wants to be with, that you do make this incredible reputation as the person to be with, the person that they want to have around, the go-to person. In every job, you're going to see those folks that everybody says, it's late, and folks are complaining, oh my God, I was supposed to go out with my girlfriend or my boyfriend tonight, or I was supposed to do this, my folks were going to have me over, blah, 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 blah. Someone asked me once, how did I get so many hit shows? I said, well, how did I choose so many? And I said, well, first of all, I didn't really choose them. I just said yes more than the next guy. I always said yes. I said, but if there was anything that I can tell you that was important in how I've done so well, is I only worked with Steven Spielberg. And I said, what? I thought John Williams did Steven Spielberg. I said, I only work with Steven Spielberg. No matter which one of my producers walks in the door, no matter which one of my directors walks in the door, no matter wherever I'm at, I see Steven Spielberg and I act accordingly. That's it. If you were in the room with Steven Spielberg and he said, "Hey guys, we're going to be late tonight. I don't know. I don't know when we're going to finish. It may be 4 a.m. Are you really going to say, "Well, I don't know. I gotta go hang out with my grandma and my girlfriend is going to be over in a little bit"? No. You probably won't even. You'll be so excited that you probably won't even think. If you did have something you have to do, you probably wouldn't even think to call them to tell them that you're not going to be there. No, come on. You're going to say, "I'm working for Steven Spielberg tonight. Get out of here. Woohoo!" That's what you have to have in you. That's what I have in me every day. I'm so excited. I jump up and down like the Lucky Charms guy every time that I get a job. Heck, I got another job earlier today and I'm excited. I can't believe it. It's a wonderful thing. Ain't no paper hat on my head. I don't have to wonder whether you need a drink with that burger and fries. We are in the entertainment business in Hollywood and got a job. What's bad about that? Come on. This is a wonderful thing. This is a joyous thing every day that we wake up and we get a chance to do this. And I bring that excitement to their project. It's not about one of the ways that I get jobs when I'm talking about to somebody about their project, I'm not talking about how wonderful I am, how wonderful my music is, and this, that, and the other, and I'm so wonderful in this. I'm talking about how I am going to elevate their project. Everybody wants to hear about themselves. You talk about them and their project and what their needs are and how your one little portion of it can help to make it even better. It'll be better because of me. I'm totally on board. I've read about books on what you're. I've read about you and what you're trying to achieve with this film and blah blah blah. And I think that I could bring something else special to it, to their vision. You know, especially in music, we're one of the last things that comes on board. One of the last things, unless it's a freaking musical, we're one of the last things that they hire. And the average director or director of a film or producer of a TV show has had that project for 4, 5, 10 years sometimes before it got to be something that's on TV or in your theaters. They've been working on it. Some writer was writing in his little cubby hole and then getting that just right, and then he has to. And he takes out his agent who tells him to cut this and cut that and change that. And then he has to go through that lovely process that's somewhere along the line of a pimp slap of going out there to sell his project to a network. Well, oh my God, he gets turned down by this network. He gets turned down by that network. He gets turned down by that network. And then finally one says yes. And you can't even remember the names of the other places you went to. But that person had to go through all of that stuff to get here and then hire all these people to put together this project, this pilot. And then the pilot gets picked up and then he has to put together a whole team to make a series work. And then your music butt comes in at the end of it and wants to talk all about how special your music is and how it's really gonna save the freaking day. Well, let me tell you something. He doesn't care. He doesn't care about you and your brilliance and your he cares about his project. And are you and the path that he's on, and are you going to be helpful in getting him down the path that he's going on, not the path that you want to go on? If you could take yourself out of it, I'm telling you, the average, TV shows on network television, the big deal is when they get to go to syndication. You know that if in a bad syndication, these guys are making $100 million or more. In a bad one, $100 million or more. These guys are stressed out from the minute they get that show, because they know that that's a possibility for them. I think part of my job is to make it one thing out of their day a little bit easier. When they come to me, when they come about the music, that is not a problem. It's not a problem that they have to fix. It's something that they can enjoy and something that they feel good about, you know, and they know that their composer is on his side or her side, trying to make their vision happen, not his, not his, not his own. You've got to be, who's running this? Whose vision are we trying to get behind? Let's get behind that and see where it takes us, or don't go there. Really, that's the deal. But that's how I look at it. You know, if you can get to intern with anybody, the point is you get to find out the realities of the business. There's so many, I could talk from now till tomorrow with telling you things that are exactly the opposite of what you think they really are. Exactly the opposite of the solution to the problem is exactly the opposite. I can tell you about scenarios where to hear the dialogue more and they're telling you to turn the music down, when the actual fact is that in certain situations to hear the dialogue more, you have to turn the music up. I can explain that to you. It's an actual fact. And there's tons of stuff like that. You've got to be with you've got to be out of the school process, and you got to get in there and work with somebody who is really, really doing this and see what they have to go through every day. See what they have to go through to keep their craft together. See what they have to do to strive for greatness with their craft. To see what they have to do to work to deal with the work relationships with everybody that they have to come into contact with. Now, if you're somebody like me that's working with 5, 10, 15 different shows, each one is a different work relationship. I don't bring what I did for the producer of King of Queens to the producer of Girlfriends. She's a totally different producer. She likes a totally different way of doing music. She has a total different way of how she wants to work. But I have to make all of them feel like I'm 100% on their team and on their path of where they are going. You know, and you learn that you can learn a lot of that stuff by becoming an intern with somebody. It doesn't make a difference what the money is. It doesn't make a difference what the hours are. I can tell you right now, the money's going to be crap. The hours are going to be worse. And you're going to be wondering at some point, why the hell did I ever say that I wanted to do this? You know? And then one day, your intern like mine did, I turned around and said, I don't have time for this to totally do this show. So I'm going to bring you on as a co-writer. Now you're a writer on the show. And he's got his first show, just like that. You know, it happens every day of the week. Every day of the week. Now you have to choose a inspired and more enlightened person to work for, but you know something, that's realistic, but that's realistic. That's how people get in there and out there. You have to be trying to you have to be trying to get on a set. You have to be trying to get in the writer's room. You have to be trying to at all times. My brother is a writer. My brother was originally a male secretary for Ronnie Hallen. Ronnie Hallen was running a show called Happy Days at the time. Have any of you heard of that? And he was always telling her, the secretary was always telling her, my brother was telling her that he could write, he wants to write. Someday he just wants to write, you know? And finally, one day she turned around and gave him an opportunity to do a spec script. That's where you just, you know, make something up and see based on these characters and see if and pitch it to them and see if they take it. Well, his very first one, they took it. And his very first one, when they were one of the top shows, was their top Nielsen rated show of the year. And he went from male secretary to staff writer, just like that. Just like that. All of us have to do the deals. All of us have to do our dues and pay our dues and try to and put in the hard work and belief in yourself. I know I said it earlier, but nobody can be a bigger fan of you than you. Now, I know all of you have your insecurities. Hell, we wouldn't be in the arts if we didn't. We'd be running up the damn football field. But we conflicted. We got issues. We think everything that we did was, oh, somebody's got to be able to do that better than me. I've got to be, I know everybody's better than me. So we practice harder and harder and harder and harder. We make ourselves into something else. And we find out, oh, I'm pretty doggone good. You have to believe in you. You have to believe in you. You have to find your way of expressing to others that belief within 10 seconds. It's called an elevator pitch. You got to do it. You've got to be able to, if you got 10 seconds with somebody, figure out how to let them know what you know and give you that opportunity. You're not going to get any opportunity that you don't take. You understand that? And you've got to get used to that now. Get over being afraid of it. Practice walking in the room and talking to people. Practice showing your art to somebody. Don't just hide it away. Practice the thing of showing it to somebody and having people critique it and say it to you, and not get all up in yourself about, oh, my baby, my piece of art. Oh, they said something about it. No, take in what they've said. If you get a job, there's going to be a seemingly endless line of people that are going to be critiquing your stuff and telling you this, that, and the other. It completely rolls off of me. I always tell them up front, I said, you know that thing, where people, where artists have a problem when you tell them something to change their music and it's like their baby? Well, I don't have that. I don't know. It fell out of me sometime back in the 70s. Anyway, so just tell me straight what you want. You can say, no, Kurt, that's a piece of crap. No, if you just took this thing out and you took that out, boom, 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 it's not, then we'd be able to do it. I always turn and tell them, these pieces of music, as much as I love them, are not my babies. My babies are in that house behind me, hopefully doing their homework. You have to have that ability. You might as well start practicing now, because you have to have that ability for someone to say to you, this must be different. If you're in this business, I don't care whether you're a writer, a set designer, a musician, an actor, whatever. Your agent's going to tell you, no, you have to do something different. You get a job, the director is going to tell you, yeah, that's great, but if you could do it just a little differently. Your producer is going to say, yeah, I love that. It's going to be, but I need it a little bit different. Now you've got them all pleased, and then they turn over to the network, and the network says, we love everything but what Jesse Lara did. and Jules Joel, oh my God. So can you have them change their stuff? And this is what we need them to change it to. And that's, if you're going to get emotional about that, then what are you going to do? You're going to pass up listening to the information that they're giving you. Nobody working on a film or TV show, which is a collaborative sport, it is a collaborative sport. No one is trying to make a bad one. Everybody is trying to make a hit. Everyone is trying to make a hit. If someone has told you something, it is not to trip you up, unless they secretly a composer trying to get your job, but that's another thing. So you have to get used to that. How do I get that off of me that it doesn't even show in my eyes when you said something that just totally ticked you off, that totally broke your heart, and there's nothing. You see nothing in my eyes. I said, And as they're saying, as a matter of fact, as they're saying that you need to change this and change that, I said, something, that is a great idea. Something, I hadn't thought about it that way. I know exactly how we can do that. As my brother told me one time, he says he would fight with the network about all of the notes they were given as he was trying to get something picked up. He said, But as soon as they pick it up and send over the check, it's amazing how they all start seeing things the same. Ah, boy. Well, I hate to make it seem like it's all about money, but it is all about the money. Anytime anybody tells you that it is not, try to feed one of you little people for a year and tell me if it's about that or not. It really, you if you're going to make a career out of it, you deserve to make a good living doing it. You deserve to have a career from it. You deserve to not have to wonder how you're going to eat while you have this amazing genius in you. But people, I'm always so amazed with people in the arts, whether it's music or acting and stuff. When you talk with most people, they've been doing it since they were children. When you get, we're not the people that go to college and finally in their junior year decide to declare a major. Yeah, I'm gonna go into law. All right. We're not. We're the geeks that were doing this when we were 5. We're the geeks that were doing it when we were 4. We're the geeks that's still doing it when we're 12. We're the geeks that are still geeking out on it when we're 14, 15, 16. Hell, by the time I got to college, I'd already put in a dozen years. I did not just figure this out in my junior year. That is something special about you that you know now. Embrace it. Love it. It is the best thing that ever happened to you. Right now. And you believe in you because you know something, if nothing else, if you ever get a little one, take down my number, call me up. I believe in you. I think you can do it. I think every one of you do, even Jesse Lowry. Jules, I don't know about. that might have just been a mistake. Okay, another question. Boy, I'll try not to make the answer so long.
Yeah, Ronnie, go ahead and unmute and ask your question.
Yeah, I was wondering, what should we begin studying now that we're in high school that would prepare us for going into the film industry?
And what part of the film industry do you want to go into?
For composing and music.
Oh, wow, cool. First things, you should be taking any classes that you can in business. When you go into college and stuff like that, I'm serious about this, knowing that it is a business. Don't forget that. If you can take a side at some business admin classes, that'd be a great thing. Here's something that you should pay a lot of attention to: English, writing. There is not one of you that is going to get a job in film and TV that isn't going to have to do tons of paperwork every day of your life. The paperwork is so enormous in film and television. The paperwork itself is so enormous that if you do get as successful as me, you would have to, it's so much of it, you have to hire another person just to do that. If you're doing multiple shows, you need another person just to keep up on the paperwork alone. That's something that they didn't tell me before. I wish I knew a little bit about. Look, you should be trying to delve into finding out everything about every instrument that you can. It doesn't mean that you have to learn how to play 20 instruments. I don't think that you need to learn how to play 20 instruments to be able to write music, but you should know what the nature of those instruments are, and then how to expand that. And then if you don't know what the nature of it is, then how are you going to expand the nature of it? I do a lot of things because because people didn't think about them in that way. Like I'm very well known for having ushered in the urban scoring style of music. Before, there wasn't a lot of hip hop and urban music on on television for even for Black shows. They didn't even have it, you know, because there weren't any Black composers, very many Black composers working at that time. I came in and looked at it in a different way. And what's interesting about it is before, because it's all about research, and too, you know, all of you should get used to researching information. It is a key in everything you do. Because here's one for you. I'm known for ushering in the urban scoring style and hip hop and all of that stuff. Hold for it, kids. I never even owned a single hip hop record before I got that job. They just gave it to me because I was Black. They said, I bet he could do it. It was one of the few times when it worked out for a brother. and then I ran off and started buying every hip hop record I could get my hands on and trying to figure out how to combine it with traditional scoring techniques. I was already able to do the more orchestral stuff, so I just managed to be able to put them together. But you know, finding out about instrumentations, exploring other musics that you do not know, because as film composers and TV composers, we're put into all kinds of different environments. People, when the young man that did the score for Black Panther, he had to go. They flew him to Africa, and because let's face it, he wasn't African. He's from the northern parts of Europe, and he went there and researched and found out more about the music and tried to put himself deep inside of where it comes from, you know, and he had to combine that with the orchestral sounds that he had, and he's actually a very good hip hop guy too. And so he combined all of that together, and you know, a few years later, there you have an Academy Award for a superhero score for the first time, you know? So you're always gonna have to be researching. You're always looking at what it is that some producer may write into a script. I one time was doing a script, a show, and they said they wanted klezmer music, which you wouldn't think a brother from the South Side of Chicago would really be up on the klezmer game, but oddly enough, I had worked with which is for those of you that don't know, is traditional Jewish folk music, and I had worked with a writing partner who was Jewish, and we used to call ourselves. He was Tyrone Glickstein, and I was Moishe Jones Jr. So he was always imparting me all kinds of different music styles from where he comes from, and I was always imparting on him things from where I come from. And it's those mixtures that make things special. It's that you get a little bit of this and a little bit of that makes something really special. So this should be your journey. This should be a daily research of trying to find other music and other people's music, and try to incorporate it in who you are. You find that, wow, you know, I didn't know that I would like this, but I really, really like this thing over here or that thing over there. You know, I'm of course versed in orchestral, and I told you that I ushered in the urban scoring sound in television. I used to tour with Freddie Hubbard, one of the most famous jazz players in the world. My favorite music is country and western. Didn't see that one coming, did you? Booyah. You break my heart, but I still love you. Your tender smile hides wicked ways. You play a love connection, but I just played a fool. I guess I am the kind of man that love just gives the blues. Here I am to say it again. I'm even telling all my friends it's the last time I'll ever fall in love. Down, down, down. Here I am, say it again. I'm even telling all my friends It is the last time I'll ever fall in love. Didn't see that one coming, did you? Search, look for it, find yourself someplace else, travel, listen to other people's things, try to do music, buy orchestral scores and analyze them, buy scores from composers of film and television and analyze them. Start figuring out where you want to go to college with this. There's a number of really great places. USC right here in Los Angeles has an amazing film scoring routine, and as well as Berkeley and Boston. What you need to be doing also as a composer is it's about relationships. Don't wait till the last minute. You need to be finding out who in here is trying to be a director. You should be. Why don't you score their little film short? When you're doing that when you get to college, you should be doing that. You should not just find out where all the musicians are. If you're trying to get in television and film, you need to find out you need to know all of the best actors in the acting department. You need to find all of the best writers in the writing department. You need to find out for sure all the best directors in the directing department. Back to the example of Black Panther, the director of Black Panther and the composer of Black Panther went to school together at USC. They knew each other in school. They knew each other in school. And when the director got one of his first jobs on TV, he brought this guy in. You know, it's relationships. You need to get out there and be talking to everyone that you can about it. You need to go to every seminar you can. You need to go to every chance that somebody tells you, hey, you can be on a set. You can every time you can get into the studio to see how it really, really works. You know, there's the stuff that you learn in school, but you need to find out what really, really works. Another question? Anybody?
Probably have time for maybe one more question. You know, I did have a bunch of questions ahead of time, but you actually answered most of them on the fly. So yeah, really, really thoughtful responses. Definitely appreciate that. Does anybody have any last questions on anything we talked about today, or anything else that you would like to know? Going once, going twice.
Aaron? Yeah? What you got, brother?
How often do you work with recording artists when you're composing for TV shows?
These days, quite a bit. I'm doing a show for Disney, Disney Plus, and there's just a ton of various recording artists. But I've been lucky. I worked with Brandy on Moesha. Let me see, who else have I worked with? Here's somebody you might know.
Yes.
Yeah, she's amazing. I worked with Beyonce when she was still with Destiny's Child, and they did the theme song for a show called The Proud Family. I'm going to work with about a dozen of the biggest recording artists in the business over the next month. I've already started and continuing on. So it's a big deal especially in television. A lot of times the composer is asked to not only do, if you're capable of it, not only do the score, but to do original songs and things for shows, which is a really, really big deal.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Great. Kurt, do you have any closing thoughts for us? I mean, you gave us so many good points of thought and inspiration today. But do you have any closing thoughts for us? Anything that you want to impart to these folks as they go out and share their craft with the world?
Okay. Run! Get out of here! Stop! This is crazy! Don't do it! Don't do it! And that's first. Second, Stay away from Jules. She's bad news, I'm telling you. Jules, I love you. I'm so sorry. I just don't pay any attention to me. I mean, Jules, do you have a question? Do you have anything? Please help me out here. I don't want to go up and seem like I'm a Jules bastard. No, but beyond believing yourself and taking care of yourself, take care of your health, find your joy every day. Walk out into the world, even in this COVID world, and smile and look in the distance and see what you see, and try to bring some portion of it to your art, to your craft. Love the work. The harder the work, love it more. Be in there when everybody else is going home, when everybody else is saying no, no, no. You be the one to say yes, yes, yes. I do better because I said yes more than the next guy, not because I said no more than the next guy. You can do it. You can do it. Every one of you can do. There's nothing to fear here. There's no reason to fear wanting a career in the arts. There's no reason to fear it. Everybody wants to put that in your head. I got a lot of friends that sat up there and had their secondary job, and that became their only job. And their souls are broken inside because they didn't do what they cared about. Everything you do is going to be tough. It's going to have some rocks in the road no matter what you do. Any job you take is going to be hard on you. Shit, I worked in a fried chicken shack. It was horrible work. I got popped up with grease all up and down my arms every day. Oh my God. I couldn't imagine if I had to do that for 31 years. It's going to be tough no matter what you do. So why don't you do something you love? Why don't you do something that fills your heart, something that you care about, something that you can't wait to get to do? Why not choose you? Why not choose beauty, love, and caring? Choose that. You can do it. I believe in you. Well, I believe, and you believe in the power of yes. Ta-da!
Wise closing words. Thank you so much. It looks like we have one more trickling question here,
Okay.
if you don't mind, from Tristan. You want to go ahead and ask this last question, Tristan?
Yeah, I just wanted to know, like, when do you, like, I have this issue of like never being like super satisfied with like anything. So when do you feel like the most satisfied, and like how long does that last?
Oh, that's the nature of the perfectionist type people that we are. A lot of artists have that as an issue. Look, I keep working at it until if it's supposed to be in at 4 o'clock, I'm probably still working on it at 3:30. Give me some time to just press send on this sucker. You keep working until there is no opportunity to work any further, and then you have to get used to, okay, good enough. And this one will be tough on you, Tristan, if you're working for somebody else. When they've said you've done something, they say, wow, that's amazing. That's it. That's beyond everything that I thought that I could ever have. And you're saying, well, you have to start learning not to go down that road of, well, you see, but it could really be perfect if I just would do this. No. Learn these words. Once they have bought it, quit selling, Tristan. Once they have bought it, quit selling. It's, if you've given somebody what they love and you are doing it for a person in a job scenario, then there has to be a cutoff point, and the cutoff point isn't chosen by you. And if you don't if you don't want to have a cutoff point, then keep it to yourself. I mean, there's things. I'm a firm believer in, there has to be some end. I had a songwriter, a friend of mine that would change the songs. We were in a band, and he would change the songs over and over and over again. It changed it so much that you know, after the 8th time of changing it, I said, I mean, call me a little crazy here, but why don't you just write another song? Why didn't we just record that one, and now let's move on and record this one? I think, and I know about the perfectionism of detailing everything, but I tell you what, TV helped me with, because there's just no time. There just isn't the amount of time. I'm about to start a show. I'm going to start an episode of a show tomorrow that will have to mix on Tuesday. That's very clear to me. So I know that I have to finish that. What TV has helped me with is stopping me from doing that same thing of just going on and on and on. I have to get to a point, and then I have to let go. You know, because sometimes you're finding it in your, aren't we with art, aren't we trying to share an experience with other people? Aren't we trying to emote something to other people in whatever art that we do? So if someone is out there telling you, I got it, you need to show your things more. Get used to that. And it doesn't mean that you can't never change. I'm just saying that there will have to be some balance that will come to it. And you'll come to that in your own time. Show your stuff more. It'll get you past this. With me, with TV, I have to show stuff every day. Every day I have to either get knocked down or told that I'm the best thing since milk. So every day you start trying to show you start in your family, show things to your family. My kids do art and stuff, and they never wanted to show me anything. The more that you show your mom, you show your dad, you show your friends, some of them will be tough on you, some of them won't. Some of them will love it, and some of them, you will find some of the best information from somebody that isn't even in your field. And they say one of the most profound things to you, because I don't understand this, but just off the top of my head, boom, 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 you know? And you say, oh. Now, if you're receptive, you start saying, wow, didn't understand that, didn't get that one there. And so maybe it is done. Okay? I hope that helped.
Thanks. All right. Kurt, we're going to wrap it up there. I want to tell you that your talk today was definitely a breath of fresh air for us. You know, we're in the distance learning format. You know, it is kind of rough on us musician types. And so to have you come in and just give us some inspiring words and some forward thinking thoughts and give us some laughs. I know I personally got a lot out of our time with you today. And I have a strong feeling that everybody in attendance did as well. So thank you so much for being with us today. And we hope to have you back sometime.
Thank all of you. I appreciate all of you. Good luck out there. Good luck.
All right. Would you guys like to just unmute and say thanks to Kurt real quick?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I appreciate you.
All right, you all. Thanks again for being here. Thanks again, Kurt. I'll touch base with you and follow up again later. But have a great rest of your weekend, everybody, and we'll
Bye, guys.
see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.